Um, I when you were nominated, I actually said to President Trump personally that was an excellent nomination. And there were some that I didn't think were excellent, but you have been involved, and I hope people remember this, for decades trying to help the Jewish people and the Arab people in that part of the world, correct?
Bill, I've been going to Israel since 1973. This year will mark 52 years of being in Israel, dozens and dozens of times to the point I've lost count. So I've been immersed in what's going on in the Middle East and specifically Israel. It's a place I love. I've come to appreciate the extraordinary things that this startup nation has been able to do. And there's really nothing that President Trump would have asked me to do that I would have had any affinity for. But this was the one thing that I could not say no to because it's almost like a lifetime of preparation to do it.
What sparked your interest in Israel?
When I originally went, I was only 17. I was a month shy of my 18th birthday. It was 3 months before the Yom Kippur War, although none of us knew that. And I was there with a friend of mine on a senior trip. And, looking back, it was insane that the two of us went all over the Middle East. We went to Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, uh, throughout the Middle East, but we went to Israel as part of it. Now, Israel in 1973 was a sleepy little country. It had barely gotten through wars in 48, 56, and 67, had success in those wars, shouldn't have, but it did. But its economy was struggling. It was barren in terms of it was dusty, hilly, rocky, didn't have a lot of vegetation. What I have seen over my own trips there over 52 years, I've seen the desert bloom and I've seen the dry bones come to life. It's an amazing entrepreneurial, innovative country that has exported much technology to the rest of the world, including the United States, not only in just raw technology, but in medical care and in agriculture. But all of that aside, it's a space where this tiny little sliver of land, the size of New Jersey, is the most contested piece of real estate on the planet. And it makes it a fascinating part of the world.
Do you have an empathy because you're a Christian, and the evangelical Christian movement has an empathy with the Jewish people in Israel. Is that part of this equation?
Well, it's a personal part. I mean, certainly the role of an ambassador is not to uh, go as a religious or spiritual guide, but it certainly is a part of who I am. And it gives me some parameters of understanding the bigger picture of it, that Israel has been in this land for 3,500 years, that Jerusalem is the indigenous, forever, and unique capital for the Jewish people. I had a Jewish friend from New York ask me one time, we were in Israel together, and he said, why is it that evangelical Christians are so supportive of the Jewish people and of Israel? And I said, it's quite frankly pretty easy. I said, you can be Jewish and have nothing whatsoever to do with Christians, but I can't be a Christian and not have everything to do with the Jewish people, the Jewish faith, the scriptures. Everything I believe is built on the foundation of that. So for me, and most evangelicals would say the same thing, we're people of the book. It's simple. So if you read in Genesis that God blesses those who bless Israel and curse those who curse Israel, this gets pretty easy.
Okay. Now, when you get over, and you'll be confirmed easily in the Senate, when you get over there, your job is not to make policy. I'm sure that President Trump will consult with you, but your job is exactly what? How do you see it?
It is to carry out the policy of the president. As I shared with the president, there's only one person who got elected November the 5th, and his name was Donald J. Trump. So he gets to set the table and pick the menu. Those of us who serve as an ambassador to any country, we don't go with our own agenda. We don't get to go and say, here's what I'm going to do. We find out what the president's policy is, And we carry that to the country where we've been assigned to represent. So, will I get a chance to visit with President Trump about that policy? Of course. But it ultimately is his decision what that policy is going to be. And
Now,
I'll
that
have
could put you up against Netanyahu and the Israeli government because we're not simpatico 100% with Israel. Are you ready to stare down Bibi if you have to?
Well, it's not so much that I would stare him down. It's more that I would represent the United States and
But
make
he's
it
not
very
going to like that. You're going to get yelled at.
oh, that's okay.
That's all
I
right.
was governor 11 years. I got yelled at a lot. So this will not be something new for me. Um, I will feel right at home.
Do you anticipate an improvement over there? Because you're walking into the most difficult ambassador job, with the possible exception of Moscow,
Yeah.
on the planet. Beijing is testy too, but you're walking into bullets are flying. All right, and
Yeah.
you are going to be in jeopardy yourself. You're going to have to watch it. You know that. But what is your? Are you optimistic? Are you in the middle or pessimistic? How are you going in over there?
I'm very optimistic, but I'm also very realistic, Bill. I don't have any illusions that there's going to be some two-state solution where you have some people who hate Israel, who want to see it totally annihilated, who are going to move next door, set up a shadow government, and everything's going to be just lovely. That's not going to happen. What I do anticipate is that there is a greater movement going on within the overall Gulf states and in the Middle East. When historically, really, I guess, adversarial nations to Israel, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, a host of the nations, Bahrain, they're now realizing Israel is no threat to them. They don't need to fear Israel, and they don't need to hate Israel. They get nothing for that, nothing. They get more when they share intelligence, tourism, trade. They all benefit.
But you're
And that's
thinking
why,
logically, and when you deal with Hamas and the other terrorists in Iran, they don't think logically. They hate you. They want to kill
well, you
you,
can't deal with them. You
and you're not
cannot,
going to you're not going to change their minds. By the way,
no,
they're
no, you
always going
have,
to hate and want to kill you. So that's the reality of the situation. And this is the final question for you. Some Americans say, look, it's no matter what you do or what we do as a country, this is never going to get better because there aren't two states. The Gaza and Hamas, that's not a state. There's nobody running the show there. It's you do what I say or we'll kill you. It's not like they have a representative government. So you can't have a two-state solution when you only have one state. That's Israel. Last word.
that's exactly what we have to change in a policy. Both Republican and Democrat presidents have pretended that this two-state solution makes sense. It simply doesn't, especially when one of the states believes that its sole purpose of being on earth is to murder every last Jew. So the reason that Israel has to get rid of Hamas, it can't simply ameliorate the danger, it has to eliminate the danger, is because Hamas is not a government. It doesn't have soldiers with uniforms. It is a group of terrorists, criminals, and savages. You do not deal with them in the way that you would deal with a legitimate government. Donald Trump understands that. And it's why I think there's going to be a different way. The same reason that the Abraham Accords were able to be done in Trump's first term, and that when Biden came in, basically nothing moved beyond that. Donald Trump has an opportunity to do something historic, and I believe he will.
All right, Governor, and you're right by his side, and we really appreciate know how busy you are with all of this, and hopefully I will see you in Jerusalem. All right, stay
We
safe now.
say next year in Jerusalem, maybe even this year in Jerusalem.
I hope so. I'm going to get over there as soon as I can, but stay safe, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.